Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to guide you through the process for creating the mini Soften Tote. You can find the pattern link in my description. It's a super cute project, perfect for beginners exploring quilting. Plus it's a really quick sewing project you can finish in an afternoon. So let's dive into the tutorial. I start by laying my quilt wadding on my table, and then I lay my fabric on top with the right side facing up. Lay your pattern on top of the fabric. Notice how I've kept extra fabric around the edges of the pattern. This extra fabric is helpful in the quilting process. Using tailor's chalk, trace the outline of the pattern onto the fabric. Now that we've marked the outline, we'll now mark in the quilting lines. The pattern has two quilting options, diagonal quilting or straight quilting. For this tutorial, I'll demonstrate the diagonal quilting only. However, the process is the same for both options. Mark the edges of the diagonal lines that are all going in the same direction. We will focus on quilting these lines first. For this next step, I'll be using a hair marker to create visible creases in the fabric. A butter knife could also work, or if the creases are hard to see on your fabric, you can use tailor's chalk. Use a ruler to join the diagonal marks. Apply pressure and glide the hair marker along the ruler to create a crease. Continue the same process for all the diagonal markings in the same direction. Once all the creases have been made, pin the two layers, the batting and the fabric, together using safety pins. Arrange the placement of the safety pins in a way so that they do not interfere with these crease lines. We'll now sew the two layers together along these crease lines. When sewing, start from the center crease and work your way to the outer edges. This helps to reduce the fabric bunching up as you sew. Here I'm using my walking foot attachment. A walking foot ensures even feeding of multiple fabric layers and prevents fabric from shifting. Although this attachment is helpful if you have it, don't worry, it's not necessary for this small amount of quilting. Remove all the safety pins. We'll now follow all the same steps to mark in the diagonal lines for the opposite direction. Now that all the quilting is complete, we can cut around the edge of the pattern. Now it's time to cut out the lining. On the pattern, there's a marking that says, "Cut along this line for lining." I like to fold the pattern along this line. Do this on both ends of the pattern. Cut out the lining. So I'm just going to set aside the bag and the lining for a moment while we work on the straps and the ties. So you're going to start by folding one end of the tie inwards by 1 centimeter, and then you want to fold the outer edges towards the center, and then you're going to fold it in half again, and it creates a nice clean finish. So once you've done those folds and press with the iron, you can edge stitch this down. Complete the same steps for both ties. At the moment, both the wadding and the strap are the same size. We're going to trim off 1 centimeter off the edge of the wadding. The right side of the strap should be facing outwards. Fold the strap over the cut edge of the wadding by 1 centimeter. Fold the other edge, both the fabric and the wadding, into the center and press. Finally, fold the right edge towards the center, overlapping the left edge. Pin to secure down. Sew along the folded edge in the center of the strap. I'm going to change my walking foot back to my normal machine foot for the rest of the steps. This is an added step that I've found helpful. Sew a line of stay stitches around the cutout on one side of the lining. We'll come back to this in a later step. Mark in the notches from the pattern for the straps and the ties. Use the notches to guide your placement and pin the straps and ties onto the right side of the bag. Sew each end of the bag to secure these down with a 6mm seam allowance. Fold the bag in half with the right sides together and pin the side seams. Repeat these same steps for the lining. Sew both the bag and the lining side seams with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Press all the seam allowances open. Fold the bottom corners of the bag together and pin. We're going to do the same step but for only one corner on the lining. The corner that we did the stay stitches on, leave this corner open, as this will be an opening to pull the bag right side out in a later step. Sew the bottom edges closed with a 1 cm seam allowance. Now we will be attaching the lining and the bag together. Turn the lining so the right side is now facing out. With the right sides facing together, pin the lining and the outer bag together along the top edge. Make sure to match up the side seam allowances. Sew together with a 1 cm seam allowance. Pull the lining away from the bag and find the bottom corner opening. Gently pull the bag through the opening. I find it easier to pull both straps through first and then pull the rest of the bag through. Once the bag is pulled all the way through to the right side, we can close the opening. Fold the raw edges of the opening inwards about 1 centimeter and pin. And edge stitch the opening closed. Turn the bag so the lining side is facing out. Match up the position of the bottom corners, both the lining and the outer bag. Because the lining is shorter, this will mean the top part of the bag will naturally fold over. This folded edge will be about 3.5 centimeters. Make sure the fold is even all the way around the top edge. Also, make sure the lining does not get caught in the fold. Pin the folded edge in place. Edge stitch along the top opening of the bag to secure the fold down as well as the bag straps. Make sure not to sew down the bag ties when doing this. Now you can admire your fully lined and quilted mini Soften Tote. It looks so cute, you should be so proud. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful, and I would love to see your mini Soften Tote. You can tag me on Instagram or TikTok at Soften Studio. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.